Hi, I'm George Clyde. I'm here at the Orpheum in Madison, Wisconsin, where AOC is about to give a speech on reproductive rights. Wisconsin is a huge swing state in this upcoming election. AOC has a massive following with progressives, with young people across the country. So it'll be interesting to talk to people. Let's go see what the people think. So what brings you to this rally here today?
Well, I'm a registered nurse who used to work in abortion care, and so this has been very personal, this election, and so I'm here just to support the younger candidates and the youth vote, and just, this is exciting, this is historic.
I'm a big fan of AOC, that's like one of the big reasons, but I'm also super into reproductive rights, and I think it's an important issue for voting in America this year.
Yeah. And it's definitely inversely impacting us in Wisconsin. Like, we do not have a lot of reproductive freedoms, and it goes beyond abortion. It's also like birth control and a lot of other issues that we're very concerned about.
I think that a lot of times men kind of think that reproductive freedom doesn't really apply to them, and it most certainly does. So making sure that we're still showing up and supporting women and making sure that their voices are heard is really important too.
Coming out to support reproductive freedom here in Wisconsin. If we don't have women's ability to control their own body, they do not live as free citizens in our democracy. And that can really materially impact their ability to live independently, their ability to hold down a job. There is so much discrimination against people who are pregnant, and making sure that people have reproductive freedom allows them to live as full citizens in our democracy.
I was really excited to see AOC.
Yeah.
I cannot believe she's in Madison.
Fans of hers, like big fan.
What do you think it is about her that inspires people so much, especially young people?
I always love seeing regular people in politics, truthfully, like people who started in a similar vein that we did, like to think that that's somewhere that we could be someday. I think she speaks with a lot of conviction coming from a similar background of a lot of the students that are going to be here today, and that's always encouraging to see.
To be honest, I can go to bed sounder at night knowing that she's there.
Yeah, I think seeing someone so young that got into office was hopeful, and it kind of inspired like the new wave of leadership we have coming up. So yeah, we love what she does, and she's a good advocate for everybody.
I may not agree with everything she stands for. I think she's a well-spoken and independent leader, and that's what I like about her, is that she'll fight for what she believes in, and I aspire to be like that.
Yeah, I think she really just speaks her mind, and she's not super afraid of like what other people have to say about her. And I think even if it's not necessarily what the party is saying, she's not afraid to say her own beliefs.
Do you all feel any sort of divide between the more progressive wing of the Democratic Party and the more moderate wing, and where do you stand on that?
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting question. I do think that there is a divide. I think that politics can be really overwhelming for a lot of people, and I understand that leaning towards neutrality is sometimes the easiest, not to say that it's the easy way out, but it's less intimidating. It might be a more approachable introduction or just position for someone to be in the political world. And I think there can be a lot of frustration just on the action part.
The Democrats could be more progressive, but I understand that you kind of have to get those people on the fence that you're trying to get away from the Trump vote. So
I think there is sort of a divide, but I personally don't feel as upset about the more moderate, only because just knowing my parents and stuff like that, and the way that they've kind of grown up and actually switched from being Republicans to being a little bit more moderate Democrats, it at least just makes me proud that they're in support of reproductive rights and other things that Democrats stand for, while not being as extreme as I feel or some other people here may feel. But it's still I'm proud to know in the back of my head that they still support me and support those same beliefs.
Yeah, truthfully, being a moderate Democrat myself, this is definitely a space where I feel very welcomed. And while I understand the frustration on both sides, it's far pushing progressives, but then also a moderate Democrat, being able to rally behind a cause is, I think, what it's all about, especially in this election year. And genuinely, I feel as though moderate Democrats and progressives alike really need to unite, especially of all years like today, and even more moderate Republicans. I really think this is the year that it's going to get more of those swing states pushing blue, just because of the topics that are on the ballot this year.
We're united. We're united behind Kamala Harris because we know she's going to fight for us. We want to avoid fascism. We want to avoid the negative rhetoric that Donald Trump's going to put in the world if he becomes elected again. And we're fighting for that every day in unity, because we know what matters and what's at stake.
I mean, I think people in America generally people want the same kind of things, but a lot of people are benefiting from playing up a divide. I don't think it's there as much as people think it is.
We can all agree that reproductive freedom is a human right. We can all agree that we absolutely need to raise the minimum wage, and that's the things that unify us. There are very real policy positions and policy debates that we need to have. There are very real people suffering, and there is absolutely a genocide in Gaza that we need to address, and not all Democrats are on board with that message. But at the same time, there is a very stark difference between someone like Kamala Harris, who believes that women should have the freedom over their body, and someone like Trump, who does not have that belief.